So we've been talking a lot about this role of Chief Information Security Officer. And this podcast is really about turning you into a world-class Chief Information Security Officer. But it's really broader. It's really about helping cybersecurity professionals be the best they could possibly be. Welcome to Life of a CISO. I'm Dr. Eric Cole, your host, and we'll be taking you on a journey each week on what it takes to be a CISO and what are solutions that you can implement today if you are currently a Chief Information Security Officer or if you want to be one in the future. This is Life of a CISO. Welcome. You know what time it is. So good to see you. So good to see you. It's time. It is time for Life of a CISO with yours truly. The E-Dog, Dr. E, America's Cyber Czar, is in the house, and I am on fire and ready to go. So we've been talking a lot about this role of Chief Information Security Officer. And this podcast is really about turning you into a world-class Chief Information Security Officer. But it's really broader. It's really about helping cybersecurity professionals be the best they could possibly be. Find the right path that is meant for them. And to me, there's really deeper. The reason why I'm doing this is not to turn you into a Chief Information Security Officer. It's really to turn you into the best version of yourself. And most of you are clear that you want to be a CISO. You want to be a chief officer focused on information security. You either want to improve where you're currently at. Some of you are CISOs, but you're struggling. You're not getting the respect. You're not getting the authority, the connection that you need. Some of you are security engineers that have decided that you want to be a CISO. And some of you are still trying to figure out what that career path really looks like. And that's really what I want to focus today on. But before I get there, I just want to do a little bit of a self check. Are you clear on who you are, what you want, and what your strengths are? Now, I've had a lot of episodes where I've talked about that, and I will continue. That's something that's near and dear to my heart. And the reason is, when I work with coaching clients, and I'd love to work with you, so if you're ready to go to that next level, you're ready to invest in yourself, reach out to me. I'm one of those folks that I don't know if I'm right or I'm wrong, but I sort of follow my heart. But I'm one of those folks that'll often make entrepreneurs and salespeople cringe and be like, no. And the reason is, I believe the best sale, the best customer is where there's total alignment, where you know what you want and need. I know what I can offer, and there's a perfect match. And this is why, if you look at my business, it has not grown as fast or as quick as it could have. And I often have a lot of my business friends being like, Eric, we could scale this thing. We could quadruple it in 6 months. And my question always back to them is, but can we keep the same level of customer satisfaction? Because one thing I pride myself on, and it sort of is why I do what I do, is how happy our customers are. If you go in and look at our CISO calls or our past CISO students or my past coaching students, they all say things like, Eric, you have positively impacted my life. You have made a difference. I was stuck. I was trying to be a CISO for 3 years. I took every training out there, spent a lot of money, and I didn't know what the issue was. and you have helped me get alignment and clarity and focus and reprogram. And now I'm in the dream job on my dream career path and heading exactly where I want to go. We don't get people coming in and asking for refunds. I don't get frustrated customers because I don't do a hard sell. And once again, I do want to grow the business. I do want to be successful. I do want to make a lot of money because I believe that I need a lot of money in order to fulfill my mission of securing cyberspace. In order to fulfill my mission of being America's cybersecurity czar, you need money to do that. So that's why I do what I do, to invest back in, not just to buy flashy things. It's to make a difference in the world. I really believe I'm here to make cyberspace a safe place to live, work, and raise a family. That's what drives me. That's what gets me up. Money is important. I like things, right? I like my food. I like my sports cars, right? But it's really about the mission that ultimately drives me. So yes, I know how to do sales. I know how to do a hard sale, and I know how to close. And I could do that. And I've had many moments of truth where I'm like, Eric, I'm doing these podcasts for free. Should I be doing a hard sell? And I'm on sales calls, and I tell you, battle of the souls. I'm on a sales call, and somebody's on the fence. And I'm not sure if they're on the fence because they're not sure if they want to be a CISO, or they're just scared. And I know that I could close them. But a part of me is like, close them and get the money. But I don't, and here's why. Because I'm not sure. If it turns out that they really don't want to be a CISO and I'm forcing them, they're not going to be a happy customer. They're not going to show up to the calls, and they're going to be frustrated with me for selling them something they didn't need. Now, regardless of, any contractual arrangements, that's not how I like to operate. So what I do in those cases is the creator, the caring part of me takes over the entrepreneur, which I don't know if that's right or wrong. And I say, let's talk tomorrow. Spend some time to think about it, because time will give you clarity. Time will give you focus. And then one of two things happen. Either they show up to the call and I know that that's what they want to do, and then I close them. Or they don't show up to the call, and then I know they really didn't want to be a CISO. So I just want you to know I do have services available. I do have group coaching, regular coaching. I'd love to work with you. I want to make sure you're aware and know they're available, but I'm not going to hard sell you because I want it to be your decision. I want you to want to be a CISO, not me forcing you into it. So if you haven't already, listen to previous episodes or keep listening, or you can do this on your own. But you need to get a lot of clarity around who you really are, what you enjoy doing, and what your purpose for being on this planet is for. And I know those are deep questions, and those are things that could take you a while. It took me almost 50 years to figure those out. I sort of knew the direction, but it isn't until recently that I got a lot of clarity. So this is not something you need to force. This is not something you need to immediately give an answer to, but it's just things you need to be thinking about day in and day out, because it's ultimately going to guide where you're going. Now, this podcast is not to dig into that. This podcast is a little different. It's to give you some clarity that you have options. Because here's the problem. The reason why we often make bad decisions, or decisions that later on we say, oh, I should have thought differently, or I should have looked at differently, is one simple reason. We didn't have enough data. We didn't have enough information. We didn't have enough options. I will tell you, if you've ever gone in and you've looked back in the past and I don't like the word, but unfortunately it's a reality, because I don't think you should live with regrets. I think you should appreciate and own that at the time, you've always made decisions based on the best information you've had. But with me, I'm working with it, and there are a few cases where I'm like, I really wish I made a different decision. I mean, you sort of have a little regret going, what if I made a different decision? What if I did something differently? And I will tell you, in every one of those cases, the reason why I now think differently is because I have new data. I have new information that I didn't have when I made that decision. I've never had a situation, and most humans never have this case, where if you have the same data and you look at a decision a week later, you would make a different decision. Because that's not who you are. If it's the same data, you'd make the same decision, whether it's a day, a week, a month, or a year later. The only reason why you would ever make a different decision than the decision you made is because you now have new data or new information available to you. So one thing I always push with myself and the CISOs that I work with is, before you make a decision, do you have enough accurate data? Do you have enough data to make a decision? Or do you need more data or more information? That's really the only question you have to ask. If you feel you have enough data and enough information, then you make the decision. If not, here's the key. Put together a plan to get more data. The only time that people feel stuck is when they don't make a decision because they don't have enough data and they do nothing to get additional data. They just wait, and then a week later, they try to make the decision. But they don't have any new data. So they're still going to be in that same frustrated spot. So people get frustrated because they don't realize they're doing it. I don't realize I'm doing this. I'm speaking to myself as much as I'm speaking to you. But what happens is CISOs get frustrated because they're not making decisions because they don't have enough clarity, they don't have enough data, but they're not doing anything to get additional data. So you just want to make sure that if you're not making a decision for the right reasons, because you don't have enough data, you are doing things to get additional data. So that's what this is about. Most CISOs, most security engineers think there's a single career track. There's a single career track for security professionals. A security engineer, a senior security engineer, a CISO. They think that's the only career track for cybersecurity professionals. And that is not correct. There are multiple career tracks, and in reality, that is actually, to me, not a real career track. Because here's why. A CISO is not a senior security engineer. A CISO is not a promotion for a technical person. It's wrong. It's incorrect. So the problem is the career track that we have been led to believe is a broken career track. It's a false career track. It's a career track that's going to lead to disaster. Now, security engineers can absolutely become world-class CISOs. But it's a different career track. You have to recognize, okay, I started off on the security engineer career track. And now I'm going to switch. I'm now going to switch to a CISO career track. And that's perfectly legit. It's perfectly cool. But we need to recognize that there's different career tracks. And it turns out there's actually 4 career tracks. There's 4 career tracks in cybersecurity at a high level. Now, of course, each of these have a ton of different variants. For example, one of the high-level career tracks is a technical career track. That technical career track has a lot of options. Technical career track, you can be a security engineer. You can be a SOC analyst. You can be forensics. You can be incident response. You can be firewalls. You can be preventive, you can be system security, you can be operating systems, you can be networking. So each of these 4 high-level career tracks have a ton of options. But you have to decide which career track you are currently on and when you want to reevaluate whether you want to stay on that career track. So that's one of the big things I do with coaching clients. And like I said, I like giving away a lot of coaching because guess what? You can do this on your own. It's a slow path. It's a long path. You'll eventually get there. But I believe so much in my service that if you're ready and serious to really engage and go to that next level, working with me either in group coaching or private clients will accelerate and take you to that next level quicker, faster, and more efficient than you could ever have imagined. So I give my stuff away on what to do on the podcast for free, but the secret sauce is the coaching and the life experience that I give you by working with you one-on-one. So here's the first thing I do. What career track are you currently on? And is that the right career track? Now, most folks that come to me are on a security engineer career track. And they believe that that career track will let them become a CISO. And it will let them become a ineffective and bad CISO, but not a good CISO. So the first thing I need to get them to see is, okay, the career track you are on is a technical career track. You are going to be a senior security engineer. That is the correct destination for a technical career track. The correct destination for a technical career track is a senior security engineer or chief scientist. It is not a CISO. If you are honest and with dealing with accuracy and you are correct, a technical career track in cybersecurity will not lead to you being an effective CISO. You have to switch career tracks. And that's cool. But you have to realize that you're switching. You have to realize that you need new skills. You need new experience. You need new knowledge. You need new expertise. So the first and most important thing that we must do is, which career track are you on? Is it the right career track? And how long do you want to stay on this career track before you reevaluate? So now that we have that, let me lay down the 4 career tracks. These are the correct, accurate 4 career tracks at a high level in cybersecurity are technical, strategic, executive, and entrepreneur. Those are the 4 career tracks. Now, they all require you to have security engineering experience. They all require technical experience, but the question is, why and how are you getting that technical experience? So just to regroup, if we are looking at this technically correct and accurate, there are four main career tracks in cybersecurity: technical, strategic, executive, and entrepreneur. Now, like I said, for all 4 of those, you need to know security. You need to understand security language. You need the foundational items. That's why I always encourage anybody, regardless of the career track, you need training, you need education, you need to know about cybersecurity. You need to know about sysadmin, you need to know about networking, firewalls, intrusion prevention, tactics, optics, prevention, detection, remediation measures, risk, threats, vulnerability. Yeah, all of that you must have. But the question is, how are you applying it? Because a security engineer applies that knowledge differently than a manager, an executive, or an entrepreneur. So you want to learn the information. So that's why I'm like, if you're in cybersecurity 3 to 5 years, awesome. It's about the 3 to 5 year mark that you really need to start deciding. Because here's the reality. Most people that get into cybersecurity initially start on the technical career track. And that's good. I mean, you could start on the others. Like you can go to business school first, or you can do other things. You can start with program management. But most folks in cybersecurity are going to initially start on that technical career track. And that's what I encourage. My youngest daughter, she wants to get into cybersecurity. She's getting her degree in cybersecurity. That's a technical career track. Now, I'm encouraging her to minor in business or law or one of those others so she has options. She understands what those other fields are. So I wanted to get exposure, but it's very natural. You start with the core technical, and then you take some classes in law, in business, in management, and others so you can see what you like or don't like and decide. So then, after 3 to 5 years, you then decide where you want to go with your career. And like I said, there's really 4 paths. First path is technical, where you stay technical. I did this for a long time. And just so you know, you can have multiple careers. For almost 25 years, I was essentially on the technical career track, where I was a senior scientist, I was chief technology officer, right? I was a chief scientist, right? I was chief advisor, senior fellow, right? So I was mainly, for the first part of my life, really focused on that technical career track, where you are solving technical problems in cybersecurity. You are constantly looking at risks, threats, and vulnerabilities and figuring out how do you reduce those risks. What are the vulnerabilities that need to be fixed? And you fix and reduce those vulnerabilities with technical solutions and analytics. I love it. It's great. I'll always have it. And I still jump in time to time because it's fun. I'll still go in and do some protocol, packet analysis, some source code review, some decode, some incident response, just because it's fun. I like doing it. But I've switched. And I'm sort of that rare breed that actually has done all 4. Now, for different stages, some were longer, some were shorter, but I've done all 4. So the technical career track is where you're focused on the technical implementation of designing, deploying, and securing systems and networks. And you just get better and better at it and more creative and more effective. So technical career track. You can make a lot of money. You can be very successful. I was very successful on that. The second career track is what I call strategy. This is what we call our middle management. So you're a manager of security, you're a director of security, or you're like a deputy director or things like that. But you're more, you understand the technology, but you're managing it at an intermediate level and passing that information up to an executive. So you're not the executive, you're not focused on business. You're still focused on security, but at more of a management level of an organization level. So you're deciding, okay, where should we be putting energy and effort? Where should we be solving problems? We need to go in and do better configuration management. You're not doing the configuration management. That's the technical career track. The technical career track is doing the configuration management. The strategic career track is deciding that you need to do configuration management. So you now have a strategy of where are the areas you're focused on and where you need to put energy and effort. Then you have the executive career track, which is your chief officer. That's where you are focused on the growth and expansion of the business using security as your secret weapon, using security as your superpower, using security as the way to grow and expand the business. So chief information security officers, or as I like to say, chief officers focused on information security, are really an executive. They're really focused on growing and expanding businesses. They're really focused on either growing a business, selling a business, or going public. That's really what chief officers do. And I've done that too. I've built and sold companies. I've taken companies public. I've gotten companies acquired. So I've done that executive track. And that's also fun. And now I'm sort of in the fourth career track, which is entrepreneur. And this is where you're running your own business. So you're doing virtual CISO services. So you don't work for a company. You have 5 or 6 or 10 clients, or maybe 20 if you expand it. You can either be so entrepreneur can be solopreneur or growing a company, but you're essentially working for yourself and you're providing services to different companies. Contractor, I mean, different names for it, but entrepreneur. And what I often urge people, if they're not sure, try a little bit of each. It doesn't hurt. So what I'll do with coaching clients, I'm like, okay, right now, with your skill set and your knowledge and your information and the data that you have, which of these sounds more appealing? And just do this exercise with me. Real simple. Take a couple deep breaths. And I don't want you to overthink it. I just sort of want you to, it's one of those things I'm learning is this is good for solving problems. I'm pointing, if you're not on video, I'm talking to your brain. Your brain is great for solving problems. Your heart is great for making decisions. So you have the data and the information, but I don't want you to overthink it. I just want you to, what naturally comes to you when I ask you this question? Which of these is most appealing to you? Which of these you go, yeah, I really like that, or that's really fun, or that really sounds interesting. Which one is the most appealing? Technical, solving problems, reconfiguring systems, writing rule sets for firewalls, applying patches, reconfiguring IDSs, tuning false positives. Option 1. Option 2, program management, putting together a project plan, putting together a strategy for how to implement and roll out effective security. That was option 2. Option 3, growing and expanding a business and working with an executive team. Being a chief officer, but growing and expanding someone else's business. It's not yours. You're growing and expanding a business that doesn't belong to you. That's third option. Fourth option, you're building your own company. You're earning your own money. You're going in and finding the work, selling the work, delivering the work, and it's all on you. You're wearing all the different hats. Now, yes, at some point you can delegate, but if you're an entrepreneur and it's your company, at some level, it all falls back on you. So you might not be doing marketing, but you need to be thinking about marketing. You might not be doing the branding, but you need to think about branding. You might not be doing selling, but you need to think about selling. You might not be doing delivery, but you need to think about delivering. But you are doing all of those things. It is your business that you are growing and expanding. Which of those right now sounds the most appealing? Which of those sounds, yeah, like that's really cool for me to do right now? And then as we sort of wrap up this podcast on the 4 career paths, technical, strategic, executive, and entrepreneur, I want you to do another exercise, which is a little harder, but it's an important exercise. We did the first exercise today. Which of those is most appealing? Today, which of those is the most exciting to you? What I want you to do is, in 20 years, and I don't care what age you are, but in 20 years, which of those sounds the most appealing? If you really look at your life, who you are, what's important to you, what you want to do with family, personal growth, expand, all those other things. When you put all those things together and go, okay, in 20 years, I'm at this different place where maybe you don't have kids and in 20 years you do have kids, or maybe now you have kids, in 20 years you have grandkids, right? Now you're working, in 20 years you'll be retired. I don't believe in retirement. I think people that love what they do are always going to work, right? So whatever age you're at, in 20 years, which of those sound the most appealing? And then here's the critical part. If they are the same, awesome. But if they're different, you need to start thinking about, when do I make the switch? It might be 5 years, it might be 10 years. But here's the final advice I want to give you. It doesn't have to be immediate. Most folks that I work with that struggle with being a CISO is because today they love being a security engineer. In 20 years, they want to be an executive, and they think they have to do it today. And the reality is they're not ready. I've worked with coaching clients where I'm like, you know something? This was amazing. I'd love to keep working with you, but come back in 2 years. Come back in 5 years. You are not ready to switch yet. You will be in 2 or 5 years, but you're not ready now. So the best piece of advice I can give you, if you're not a CISO and want to be a CISO, is it's clear that you love being a security engineer today, and it's clear in 20 years you want to be an executive. But the question is, when is the right time for you to do that?